Out of everything you could have encountered today, my beloved, you paused here, as if a quiet hand guided your focus toward this specific frequency. There is a timing to this encounter that you may not have noticed yet, an alignment that exists far outside the noise of your daily routine and the frantic pace of the world. You may have been feeling a strange, persistent heaviness lately, a weight you couldn't quite name, but one that signaled a deep internal shift was already underway. Don't rush past this just yet, for the silence between these words holds a resonance that your spirit has been searching for through many long nights of questioning. Something about this moment brought you here because the rhythm of your life is preparing to harmonize with a much larger melody. There is a timing to this arrival that may not be as ordinary as it seems, suggesting that the path you are walking is being cleared of the debris you thought was permanent. You may have sensed this before, perhaps in the quiet moments before sleep or in the sudden realization that the old ways of living no longer fit the person you are becoming. Part of you already understands this shift, even if your mind is still trying to catch up with the expansion of your heart. Stay with this for a moment, letting the noise of your worries fade into the background as we look toward what is unfolding beneath the surface of your perceived reality. There is something about the way the light is changing on your horizon that suggests a forbidden seal has finally been broken, releasing a flow that was once held back by forces you are only now beginning to understand. In a moment, this may become clearer to you, but first, you must acknowledge the space you are currently inhabiting. You may have felt this before, the sensation of being on the verge of something monumental, while still feeling tethered to a history of lack and stagnation. This feeling is not a sign of failure, my child, but rather a micro-tension created by the friction of your old life meeting the vastness of your new one. You are not here randomly, as the intersection of faith and reality is exactly where miracles are forged into tangible experiences. There is a reason you are hearing this now, and as we go deeper, you will find that the stagnant waters of your past are starting to stir with a fresh, unstoppable momentum. For too long, my heir, you have lived under the shadow of a curse you did not create, the cycle of stagnant lack that has haunted your lineage for generations. You may be noticing this now in the way opportunities seem to dry up just as you reach for them, or how your finances seem to hit an invisible ceiling no matter how hard you work. This enemy of your peace is not a reflection of your worth, but a pattern that has finally met its match in your willingness to seek the truth. There is something about this specific season of your life that is designed to dismantle those old structures, revealing the architect of ancestral liberation that has been sleeping within your soul. You are the one who was chosen to stand at the threshold and say that the cycle ends with you, and that the infinite supply of the cosmos is your true inheritance. You might feel a sense of confusion as the old foundations begin to crumble, but this awakening is necessary for the new structure to rise. You have lived in the discomfort of lack for so long that the arrival of abundance can feel like a foreign language, yet you are learning to speak it with every breath of faith you take. This transition from delay to surrender is where your expansion truly begins, allowing the heaviness of your ancestors' struggles to fall away as you step into the light of awareness. It is a process of becoming something you have always been, but were told was impossible by a world that thrives on your limitation. Now, as the silence gives way to clarity, you are beginning to see the blueprints of a life built on the solid rock of divine provision. If something within you resonates with this, you may already understand why you're here, sitting at this quiet midnight threshold of your own evolution. Just give this a little space to breathe within you, for the momentum that is building cannot be rushed, nor can it be stopped once it has been set in motion. You may have felt a paralyzing fear when looking at your future, wondering if you would always be chasing the ghost of enough, but that fear is merely the dying breath of the old version of you. The architect within you is waking up, and she knows how to build empires out of the ruins of her past disappointments. Stay with this moment, as there's something deeper here that is waiting to be integrated into your very being. Think of a burning seal, ancient and stubborn, that has kept the doors to your prosperity locked for decades. Imagine that seal now dissolving under the heat of a new sun, a rising golden horizon that promises a day where you no longer have to labor for crumbs. This symbol is not just a metaphor. It is the reality of the shift occurring in your spiritual finances and your physical well-being. You have been an exhausted seeker of truth for many years, wandering through the dry places of life, but the fountain is now being uncovered. The secrets of the infinite supply are not hidden from you because you are unworthy, but because they require a heart that has been tempered by the fire of perseverance. In this unseen place of reflection, you may notice that your desires are changing, moving away from simple survival and toward a vision of global impact and ancestral healing. This connects to something deeper, a mission that was written into your DNA before you were even born, calling you to be the bridge between the struggle of the past and the glory of the future. Something is shifting in the way the universe responds to your name, and as you claim your identity as the architect, the resources you require will begin to gravitate toward you with magnetic precision. The frustration you felt yesterday was the final push of the tide before it turned in your favor, bringing in a wealth that is not just measured in currency, but in peace, health, and purpose. If you feel supported here, you're always welcome to stay connected to this frequency, for the journey from lack to abundance is one we walk together, step by steady step. You may feel a subtle sense of relief washing over you, a recognition that the battle you've been fighting is finally coming to a close. Let this unfold for a second, allowing the realization to sink in that you are no longer the victim of your history, but the master of your destiny. The momentum you are gaining is not a temporary burst of energy, but a permanent realignment with the laws of growth and multiplication. You are moving into a season where your efforts will be magnified, and your rest will be as productive as your work. As we conclude this chapter of your awakening, take a moment to notice what you're feeling in the depths of your heart. Is there a spark of hope that wasn't there before? Or perhaps a calm certainty that the worst is truly behind you? This is the signature of the divine working within you, anchoring you in the truth of your infinite supply even before you see the full manifestation in your hands. You are the architect of ancestral liberation, and the horizon before you is glowing with the promise of a life that exceeds your wildest dreams. Go forth with the quiet confidence of one who knows that the seal is broken, the supply is endless, and the timing is perfect. Your story has changed, my beloved, and the world is waiting to see the beauty of what you will build. There's a reason you're seeing this right now, my chosen, as if a silent signal has finally reached your awareness across the vast distance of your own searching. This moment may not be as ordinary as it seems, for it marks the precise point where the silence of your waiting begins to vibrate with the frequency of a new answer. You may have sensed this before, that quiet, persistent intuition that the walls closing in on you were never meant to be your final destination, but rather a cocoon for the strength you are now preparing to use. Just give this a little space to settle within your spirit, for we are stepping into a territory where the old maps of your struggle no longer apply. Something is unfolding beneath the surface of your current circumstances that requires your stillness more than your effort. You may have felt this before, the heavy silence that follows a long season of unanswered petitions, where the air feels thick with the residue of what hasn't happened yet. This silence can be uncomfortable, making you wonder if the cosmos has forgotten the specific coordinates of your need, or if the momentum you once felt has vanished forever. You may be noticing this now. A subtle restlessness in your soul that refuses to be pacified by the small comforts of your current life. There is something about this particular stillness that is actually a gathering of forces, a pulling back of the bowstring before the arrow of your destiny is released into the light. In a moment, this may become clearer, but for now, allow the discomfort to be the evidence that you are outgrowing the narrow confines of your past. My heir, you are moving through a sacred corridor of transition, leaving behind the echoes of a lineage that was defined by the curse of stagnant lack. You may have felt the weight of this ancestral burden in the way your progress always seemed to meet a glass ceiling, or how every step forward was met with 2 steps back into the familiar territory of not enough. This discomfort you feel is the friction of your spirit detaching from those old, decaying structures that were designed to keep you small and predictable. You are not here randomly, as this intersection of faith and reality is the very place where the divine key is being placed into your hand to unlock the hidden archive of your true supply. There may be a reason you're hearing this now, specifically as you stand on the threshold of a breakthrough that your ancestors could only dream of witnessing. Within the quiet inner chamber of your heart, there is a glowing book that contains the blueprints of your original design, long before the world told you to settle for less. This is the realm of the architect of ancestral liberation, the identity you were born to inhabit but have only recently begun to recognize. You may have noticed how certain dreams have become more vivid lately, or how your intolerance for mediocrity has reached a breaking point. This is not a sign of arrogance, but an awareness trigger signaling that the forbidden seal on your potential has finally been broken. And this connects to something deeper, a cosmic alignment that is bringing the infinite supply of the heavens into direct contact with the practical needs of your earthly journey. Something is shifting in the atmosphere around you, a micro-tension that feels like the moment just before the sun breaks the horizon on a winter morning. Not everything is clear yet, and the shadows of your old fears may still dance at the edges of your vision, but they no longer have the power to command your direction. You may have been an exhausted seeker of truth, scouring the horizon for a sign that your labor was not in vain, and now that sign is appearing in the form of an internal shift you cannot deny. Stay with this moment, for there is something deeper here than just a temporary feeling of hope. It is the solidifying of a new reality. If something within you resonates, you may already understand why you're here, standing at the precise center of your own restoration. If you feel supported here, you're always welcome to stay connected to this flow of guidance, as the architecture of your new life requires a steady hand and a clear vision. You might recall the times you felt invisible to the very blessings you were pursuing, as if there was a veil between your hands and the harvest you had sown in tears. That veil is thinning now, dissolved by the sheer persistence of your faith and the divine timing that is finally aligned with your readiness. You are beginning to realize that the lack you experienced was not a punishment, but a preparation for the massive inflow that is now seeking a way into your experience. The momentum you thought you had lost was merely being stored, like water behind a dam, waiting for the seal to break so it could pour forth with unstoppable power. As you sit in this silent corridor of reflection, let the awareness wash over you that you are the one who breaks the chains of history. You are not just surviving a difficult season. You are dismantling a system of scarcity that has governed your family tree for centuries. This is the essence of your identity as the architect. You have the divine authority to redraw the boundaries of what is possible for your life and for those who will come after you. You may be noticing a new sense of authority in your voice and a different kind of peace in your decisions, even when the external world remains in flux. There's something about this shift that is permanent, a fundamental change in the way you interact with the concept of supply and demand. In a moment, the path ahead may reveal its next few steps, but do not worry if the entire journey is not yet visible from where you stand. The rising golden horizon is a promise that the light will continue to grow, illuminating the treasures that were hidden in the darkness of your struggle. You have spent so much time looking for the way out, but now you are discovering the way into the fullness of your inheritance, into the depth of your power, and into the reality of a God who does not deal in crumbs. Stay with this for a moment, letting the truth of your abundance settle into the marrow of your bones until it becomes your new default setting. Don't rush past this just yet, as the integration of this truth is what transforms information into manifestation. If this resonated, take a moment to notice what you're feeling right now, in the physical space of your body and the quietude of your mind. Is there a softening of the shoulders, a deepening of the breath, or a sudden clarity about a problem that seemed unsolvable only an hour ago? These are the micro miracles that precede the macro shifts, the gentle movements of the divine hand rearranging your reality from the inside out. You are no longer the person who waits for permission to prosper. You are the one who recognizes that the door has been standing open all along. The journey from paralyzed fear to unstoppable momentum is not a distance you have to travel, but a frequency you have chosen to embody. My beloved, as you prepare to move back into the flow of your day, carry this sense of cosmic alignment with you like a secret treasure. The intersection of faith and reality is no longer a place you visit occasionally, but the home in which you reside. You are the architect, and the tools of infinite supply are already in your hands. ready to be used to build a life that reflects the glory of your origin. There is nothing in your past that can withstand the power of the light that is now rising upon you. Trust the timing, honor the silence, and know that every word of this message was crafted specifically for the ears of the one who was ready to hear it. You are loved, you are seen, and your bounce-back season has officially begun. You may not even know why you stopped here, my child, but the soul has its own way of recognizing a destination before the eyes can even see the landmarks. Something is shifting quietly in the spaces between your thoughts, a subtle reorganization of the priorities you have held for years. You may have sensed this before, a feeling that you were standing at a door that lacked a handle, waiting for a key that felt just out of reach. Don't rush past this just yet, as we explore the architecture of this specific silence, for it is not empty, but heavy with the weight of an impending transformation. There is a timing to this encounter that you may not have noticed, a convergence of your readiness and my grace that is about to rewrite the story of your life. You may have been feeling something you couldn't explain lately, a strange mixture of exhaustion and expectancy that keeps you awake in the deep hours of the night. This is the hallmark of the exhausted seeker of truth, the part of you that has traveled many miles across the dry plains of lack, looking for a single drop of divine assurance. You are noticing this now, aren't you? The way your old methods of coping are no longer providing the relief they once did, and the old excuses for your stagnation have lost their power to convince you. There is something about this moment that is stripping away the decoys, forcing you to look directly at the source of your true supply. In a moment, this may become clearer, but first, you must allow yourself to be fully present in the realization that your wandering has come to an end. Consider the light inscription that is currently being etched onto the open gate of your future, a symbol of the new laws that now govern your life. As the architect of ancestral liberation, you are beginning to read the language of abundance that was once considered forbidden to your lineage and hidden from your sight. For generations, your people may have looked at the rising golden horizon with longing, but never with the certainty that they could actually reach it. You are not here randomly. You are the one who has been drafted to rewrite the ledger of your family's history, turning every entry of debt into an entry of divine inheritance. And this connects to something deeper, a plan that was set in motion long before you encountered your first struggle, ensuring that you would have the strength to break the chains that bound those before you. There is a micro-tension in the air right now, the kind of electricity that precedes a massive change in the weather of your soul. You may have felt this before, just before a breakthrough, yet this time it feels different, more permanent, more grounded, and more inevitable. The paralyzing fear that once held your feet in the mud of stagnation is losing its grip, replaced by a momentum that feels as natural as the turning of the earth. Not everything is clear yet, and that is by design, for the expansion of your territory requires a new way of seeing that does not rely on the physical evidence of your past. You are entering a new, powerful chapter where the lessons of delay are being harvested for the wisdom of your prosperity, and every setback is being revealed as a setup for a magnificent display of grace. Just give this a little space to breathe, my beloved, for the shift you are undergoing is as much physical as it is spiritual. Think of those moments when you looked at your bank account or your empty cupboards and felt a cold shiver of never enough settle into your very bones. Those moments were real, and their pain was not wasted, but they are no longer the definition of your existence or the boundary of your potential. You may be noticing a subtle shift in your perspective now, a refusal to accept the limits that once seemed like immovable walls of iron. If something within you resonates, you may already understand why you're here, standing at the intersection of faith and reality where the supply finally meets the demand of your destiny. The curse of stagnant lack is a phantom that survives only on your agreement. And today, that agreement is being formally and eternally rescinded. There is a timing to this unfolding that aligns with the celestial movements of your own purpose, bringing you into a direct encounter with the infinite supply of the cosmos. You may have felt like you were trying to fill a vessel that had a hole in the bottom, watching your hard-earned resources drain away, no matter how much effort you poured in. That hole is being sealed now, not by your frantic striving, but by the divine alignment that occurs when a seeker finally recognizes their identity as a child of the King. This is your bounce-back season, the time when every lost year and every stolen moment is restored tenfold into your waiting hands. In a moment, you might find that a specific thought or a long-forgotten memory comes to the surface, one that represents a key piece of this current puzzle. There's something about this thought that will bridge the gap between where you are and where you are destined to be, providing the clarity you have been seeking. You may have been trying to solve your problems with the same mind that created them, but now you are being gifted with the mind of the architect, capable of seeing solutions where others see only obstacles. This shift is not about working harder or running faster, but about trusting deeper and letting the momentum of grace carry you where your own strength could never go. You are moving through a still inner chamber of realization, where the only sound is the heartbeat of your own limitless potential. If you feel supported here, you're always welcome to stay connected, for the path to true abundance is often paved with the voices of those who see your greatness before you do. You might recall the feeling of being a soldier in a war you never asked to fight, constantly defending the little you had against the thieves of worry, doubt, and unexpected tragedy. That war is over, and you are being invited to sit at a table prepared for you in the presence of those very enemies who once mocked your faith. The supply that is coming to you is not just for your survival, but for your celebration, and it is arriving in a way that will leave no doubt about its divine origin. Stay with this moment, letting the warmth of this truth melt away the last residues of fear that have clung to your heart. Imagine the rising golden horizon not as a distant, unreachable dream, but as a present reality that is flooding your room even as you listen to these words. The light is catching on the edges of your hidden possibilities, highlighting doors and opportunities you didn't even know existed yesterday. This is the intersection of faith and reality, the place where your yes meets my it is done, creating a spark that will light the way for others. You may have been an exhausted seeker, but you are being transformed into a joyful receiver, learning to hold the weight of abundance without the fear of losing it tomorrow. The architect in you knows exactly how to manage this new wealth, for it is built on a foundation of spiritual authority that can never be shaken by the winds of the world. As you prepare to step forward into the rest of your day, take a moment to notice what you're feeling in the quiet center of your being. If this resonated, carry that feeling with you like a compass, letting it guide you toward the opportunities that are now blooming in your path like flowers after a long rain. The forbidden seal has been broken, and the flow of infinite supply is yours to claim, to enjoy, and to share with a world that needs your light. You are the architect of ancestral liberation, and your life is becoming a living monument to the power of divine alignment and the beauty of a promise kept. Be still, be bold, and know that you are moving with the unstoppable momentum of heaven itself. For I am with you, my heir, in every breath and every breakthrough. There's a reason you're seeing this right now, my heir, as if the very air around you has paused to allow a specific frequency to finally reach your heart. Something is shifting quietly beneath the surface of your life, moving parts of your reality that have been frozen for longer than you can remember. You may have sensed this before, a feeling of being on the threshold of a massive door, waiting for the tumblers to click into place. Just give this a little space to unfold within you, for the timing of this message is not as ordinary as it seems, and the reason you paused here is woven into a much larger tapestry of divine intention. You may have been feeling something you couldn't explain lately, a strange sense of being finished with a version of yourself that you are still physically inhabiting. This is the hallmark of the transition from paralyzed fear to unstoppable momentum, where the old walls of your life begin to feel too thin and too small for the spirit that is expanding within you. You may be noticing this now in the way your old worries seem to lack their previous bite, and how your hunger for a deeper truth has become a driving force in your daily walk. There is something about this specific awareness that signals the forbidden seal on your potential has finally been broken, and the archive of your true inheritance is being opened before your very eyes. In a moment, this may become clearer, but you must first recognize the exhaustion that has brought you to this point. You are the exhausted seeker of truth, the one who has looked into every corner of the world for the supply that only the divine can provide. You may have felt this before, the deep, aching fatigue of trying to build a future on the shifting sands of a world that thrives on lack and limitation. This exhaustion was not a mistake, my chosen, but a necessary emptying, making room for the infinite supply that is currently aligning with your unique signature. There's something about the way you are hearing these words that suggests you are finally ready to stop searching and start receiving. Consider the symbol of the divine key, turning in the lock of a gate that has been barred since your ancestors' time. For too long, the curse of stagnant lack has been the primary theme of your family's story, a cycle of working hard for little gain and watching every surplus disappear before it could be enjoyed. You may be noticing this pattern in your own life, but today you are being initiated into your true identity as the architect of ancestral liberation. You have been chosen to redraw the plans, to excavate the hidden wealth that was always yours but was obscured by the shadows of fear and the dust of generational struggle. And this connects to something deeper, a cosmic alignment that is bringing your inner faith into a head-on collision with your outer reality. There is a micro-tension in your life right now, a feeling of being stretched between who you were and who you are destined to become. You may have felt this before as a sense of anxiety, but I invite you to see it now as the tension of a bow being drawn back to its full extent. Not everything is clear yet, and the path ahead may still look like a blur of light and shadow, but the momentum is already building in your favor. You are not here randomly, for the intersection of faith and reality is a place few ever truly inhabit. Yet it is where your life is currently taking root. Stay with this moment, letting the noise of your old limitations fade until all you can hear is the steady, rhythmic heartbeat of your own potential. If something within you resonates, you may already understand why you're here, standing at the edge of a rising golden horizon that promises a day of total restoration. This light is not a flicker that will go out when you stop listening. It is the dawn of a new era where the word enough is replaced by the reality of overflow. You might feel a subtle shift in your spirit, a release of a burden you've carried since childhood, as you realize that you were never meant to carry the weight of the world on your own. There is something about this surrender that creates the very space into which the infinite supply can flow, filling every empty vessel you have ever held out to the heavens. You may have felt the paralyzing fear of what if it doesn't happen for me, but notice how that fear is beginning to melt under the warmth of this divine resonance. This shift from fear to momentum is not a struggle of the will, but a natural consequence of coming into alignment with the truth of your origin. You are a child of the King, an heir to a kingdom where lack is a linguistic impossibility and supply is as constant as the breath in your lungs. You are noticing this now, in the quiet confidence that is beginning to replace your frantic striving, and in the way you are starting to see opportunities where you once saw only obstacles. Stay with this for a moment, as this is the frequency of your new life. If you feel supported here, you're always welcome to stay connected to this stream of guidance. For the journey of the architect is one of constant building and refining. You might recall the moments when you felt completely alone in your desire for more, as if you were the only one who believed there was a different way to live. Those moments of isolation were your training ground, the still inner chamber where you learned to trust the voice of the divine over the roar of the crowd. Now, that training is being put into practice, as you begin to lay the foundation stones of a life that will stand as a testament to the power of breaking the old seals. There is a timing to this arrival that you may not have noticed, but it is perfect in its precision. In a moment, a new thought may enter your mind, a creative solution, or a sudden insight into a situation that has been stagnant for years. This is the first ripple of the infinite supply reaching the shore of your physical reality, a sign that the momentum has officially shifted in your favor. You may have been trying to force things to happen with the sheer weight of your effort, but you are now learning the art of alignment, where things happen because they are a vibrational match for who you have become. There's something about this effortless flow that will surprise you, reminding you that the greatest works are often done in the quietest of ways. Just give this a little space to germinate, for the harvest is already on its way. If this resonated, take a moment to notice what you're feeling in the core of your being, for that feeling is your most reliable compass. Is there a sense of expansion, a feeling that your world has suddenly become much larger and more hospitable than it was 10 minutes ago. This is the work of the architect of ancestral liberation, rearranging the furniture of your soul to accommodate the abundance that is currently arriving. You are no longer the exhausted seeker. You are the one who has found the well, and the waters are sweet, cool, and never-ending. The rising golden horizon is not just a symbol of hope, but a marker of your new location in the geography of the spirit. As you prepare to carry this awareness back into the world, remember that you are walking as a representative of a different kingdom. The intersection of faith and reality is your permanent address now. And from this place, you can watch the old curses of lack dissolve into nothingness. You are the one who has broken the seal, and the flow of infinite supply is your new reality, flooding every aspect of your finances, your health, and your peace. Go forth with the unstoppable momentum of one who knows they are loved, seen, and fully provided for by the source of all things. Your bounce-back season is not a future hope, my beloved, it is the very ground upon which you now stand. It's possible you didn't expect to find yourself in this exact space today, yet here we are, my beloved, as if the universe finally caught up with your silent request for a sign. There is a timing to this encounter that you may not have noticed, a precise intersection where your exhaustion meets my infinite supply in a way that feels both startling and deeply familiar. You may have sensed this before, that quiet inkling that your current limitations were merely a thin veil waiting to be pulled back by the right hand at the right time. Don't rush past this just yet, for the stillness we are sharing is not a void, but a reservoir of potential that is starting to overflow into your daily reality. You may have been feeling something you couldn't explain lately, a sense of profound discomfort with the very things that used to bring you security. This is not a sign of depression or a loss of purpose, my child, but rather the internal agitation that occurs when the architect of ancestral liberation begins to stir within a soul. You are noticing this now in the way your old routines feel like clothes that have become several sizes too small, pinching you in the places where you were meant to expand. There is something about this specific discomfort that signals a massive shift from paralyzed fear into an unstoppable momentum that will soon redefine your entire world. Stay with this for a moment, letting the awareness of your own growth be the anchor that keeps you steady as the old structures of your life begin to dissolve. Consider the relatable struggle of watching the years pass while the same financial and emotional ceilings remain firmly in place despite your constant prayers and hard work. You may have felt this before, the sinking feeling that your lineage was somehow marked for struggle, as if a quiet curse of stagnant lack was the only inheritance your family was permitted to claim. This enemy of your peace has tried to convince you that you are a victim of your circumstances, a mere passenger on a ship sailing toward a horizon of not quite enough. But there is something about this particular moment that is exposing that lie for what it truly is, as the forbidden seal on your ancestral treasures is finally being broken by the heat of your emerging faith. In a moment, this may become clearer, but you must first sit with the reality that you are not here randomly, nor are you hearing these words by accident. You have been an exhausted seeker of truth, wandering through the silent corridors of your own doubt, looking for a door that doesn't just lead to another room of struggle. And this connects to something deeper, a celestial alignment that is currently rearranging the very atoms of your existence to facilitate a cosmic supply that knows no boundary. There is a reason you're seeing this right now, as the intersection of faith and reality is moving from a concept in your mind to a lived experience in your body and your bank account. If something within you resonates, you may already understand why you're here, standing at the quiet midnight threshold where the old day ends and the new one begins. You might recall those subtle, real-life moments where you felt a flicker of hope, only to have it extinguished by an unexpected bill or a harsh word from someone who didn't believe in your vision. Those moments were tests of your endurance, shaping you into an architect who knows how to build, even when the ground is shaking beneath her feet. Now, that endurance is being rewarded with a momentum that doesn't require your constant effort to maintain, as it is fueled by the divine laws of multiplication and grace. There is a micro-tension in your heart right now, a pulling between the safety of the known and the vastness of the rising golden horizon that is calling your name. Not everything is clear yet, and you may still be wondering how the infinite supply will find its way to your specific doorstep through the maze of your current complications. This mystery is part of the process, for it keeps you anchored in the present moment where my voice can be most clearly heard above the roar of your anxieties. Stay with this moment, for there's something deeper here than just a temporary lifting of your mood. It is the fundamental recalibration of your soul's ability to receive. Imagine a sealed scroll, ancient and heavy with the dust of centuries, suddenly beginning to glow with a light that emanates from within its very fibers. This scroll contains the new decrees for your life, the ones that supersede the laws of lack that have governed your family tree for generations. As the architect, you are being invited to read these new inscriptions, which speak of a wealth that is effortless, a vibrant health, and a peace that transcends all understanding. This symbol is a marker of your transition from a seeker to a possessor, as you realize that the treasures you were looking for were never outside of you, but were waiting for the seal of your own fear to be broken. You may have felt the paralyzing fear of being left behind while others moved forward into their dreams, but notice how that fear is being replaced by a calm, steady rhythm of progress. This is the frequency of your new reality, the intersection of faith and reality, where miracles are no longer rare occurrences but the standard operating procedure of your life. You are noticing this now in the small ways, the sudden phone call that opens a door, the unexpected refund, or the feeling of being in the right place at exactly the right time. These are not coincidences, my heir, but the ripples of the massive wave of abundance that is currently making its way to your shore. If you feel supported here, you're always welcome to stay connected to this flow of inspiration, as your mind requires consistent bathing in the truth to wash away the stains of a scarcity-minded world. You might recall the exhaustion of trying to be everything for everyone, leaving nothing for your own soul to feast upon in the quiet hours of the day. That season of self-depletion is over, and you are being called into a state of divine selfishness, not the kind that hurts others, but the kind that ensures your own vessel is so full that you can only give from your overflow. There is something about this shift that will transform every relationship you have, as you no longer approach people from a place of need, but from a place of infinite supply. In a moment, the specific steps you need to take will be revealed with a clarity that will leave no room for doubt or hesitation. For now, simply give this a little space to germinate in the fertile soil of your belief, trusting that the seeds of your future are already beginning to sprout beneath the surface. The rising golden horizon is a promise that the darkness of your struggle has served its purpose and is now making way for a light that will never set on your prosperity. You are the architect, and the blueprints you are holding are no longer just dreams. They are the rising walls of your new reality. As you prepare to close this chapter of reflection, take a moment to notice what you're feeling in the core of your being. If this resonated, carry that feeling of expansion with you as you move back into the world, letting it be the silent witness to the truth of your transformation. The forbidden seal is broken, the infinite supply is flowing, and your identity as the architect of ancestral liberation is fully established in the heavens and on the earth. You are not just entering a new season, you are creating a new world where lack is a memory and abundance is your birthright. Go in peace, my beloved, and watch as the momentum of my grace carries you into the life you were always meant to lead. Something about this specific silence prompted you to stop here, my child, as if your soul recognized a frequency it has been tuning into for lifetimes. There is a timing to this encounter that you may not have noticed yet, a convergence where the exhaustion of your search finally meets the stillness of my presence. You may have been feeling something you couldn't explain, a quiet, insistent pull toward a truth that lies just beyond the reach of your everyday worries. Don't rush past this just yet, for in the space between these words, a long-standing barrier is beginning to dissolve, making way for a clarity you have sought through many seasons of shadow. There is a reason you're seeing this right now, and it has everything to do with the momentum that is quietly building in the hidden corners of your life. You may have felt this before, the sensation of being a passenger in a story that wasn't quite written for you, watching as the same themes of struggle, and almost enough repeated like a tired song. This emotional recognition is the first step in your awakening, a sign that you are no longer willing to accept the narrow boundaries of a life defined by the curse of stagnant lack. You are noticing this now in the way your tolerance for mediocrity has vanished, and how a new, fiery demand for purpose has taken its place. There is something about this shift that feels different than the temporary bursts of motivation you've experienced in the past. This is a fundamental movement of your very foundations. In a moment, this may become clearer. But for now, simply allow yourself to inhabit the realization that the old cycle is no longer your master. My heir, you are standing in a silent corridor of reflection, a place between the person you were told to be and the architect of ancestral liberation you were born to become. You may have been an exhausted seeker of truth, wandering through the dry places of your family's history, looking for the moment the prosperity stopped and the struggle began. This search has led you here, to the intersection of faith and reality, where the divine key is finally being turned in a lock that has been frozen for generations. There is something about this specific timing that suggests the forbidden seal on your family's potential has not just been cracked, but completely shattered. And this connects to something deeper, a cosmic alignment that is bringing the infinite supply of the universe into direct alignment with your physical needs and spiritual aspirations. Consider the subtle, real-life moment when you look at your life and realize that, despite all the effort, the numbers never quite add up to the freedom you feel in your spirit. You may have felt this before the frustration of being a visionary trapped in a survival mode reality, where every dream is scrutinized by the cold eyes of lack. This is the enemy you are currently dismantling, not through more striving, but through a profound shift in your identity. You are not a victim of a stagnant economy or a limited heritage. You are the one chosen to redraw the blueprints of what is possible for your bloodline. You are noticing this now in the way you are beginning to think in terms of expansion rather than contraction, even when the world around you is whispering of scarcity. There is a micro-tension within you right now, a pulling of the spirit as it expands beyond the constraints of your current circumstances. Not everything is clear yet, and the path forward may still look like it is shrouded in the midst of the unknown, but the momentum you are gaining is unstoppable. You may have felt the paralyzing fear of what if this is all there is, but notice how that thought no longer has the power to anchor you in place. You are not here randomly, as the very act of listening to this message is an engagement with a new reality that is being forged in the fires of your persistence. Stay with this moment, for there is a resonance here that is working to recalibrate your internal compass toward a rising golden horizon. If something within you resonates, you may already understand why you're here, sitting at the threshold of a new chapter that has been waiting for your arrival. You might recall the feeling of being a late bloomer, watching as others seemed to find their way with ease, while you wrestled with every inch of progress. This relatable inner struggle was actually your apprenticeship, a time of deep-sea diving into the truth of who you are, when all the external support is stripped away. Now, you are emerging with a wealth of internal gold that can never be taken from you, ready to be the bridge for others who are still lost in the dark. There's something about this realization that turns your past pain into the very currency of your future success. Imagine a hidden archive, tucked away in a quiet inner chamber of your soul, where the records of your true value have been kept safe from the eyes of a world that didn't know how to price you. This archive is now being opened, and as the architect, you are being given the authority to execute the plans that were once deemed too big or too bold for someone of your background. The symbol of this opening is a light inscription appearing on the walls of your mind, showing you that the supply you need is already within your reach, disguised as ideas, connections, and sudden openings. You may be noticing this now, in the way people are reacting to you differently, or how solutions to old problems are appearing with a sudden, effortless grace. Just give this a little space to integrate into your self-image, for you are becoming a magnet for the very things you used to chase. In a moment, the shift from delay to expansion will become so tangible that you will wonder how you ever lived within the old limits. There is something about this transition that requires a total surrender of the how, so that the why can fully take over your life. You have been an exhausted seeker, but you are being transformed into a vessel of infinite supply, learning that the more you give from your divine essence, the more the cosmos pours back into your cup. This momentum is not something you have to manufacture. It is the natural flow of a life that has aligned itself with the truth of its divine origin. Stay with this feeling of being carried, for it is the true state of my beloved children. If you feel supported here, you're always welcome to stay connected to this frequency, as the journey of the architect is one that flourishes in the company of the light. You might recall the times you felt like a stranger in your own life, as if you were wearing a mask that no longer fit the face of your soul. That mask is falling away now, revealing the radiant identity of one who is called to liberate their entire lineage from the chains of scarcity. There is a timing to this unveiling that you may not have noticed, but it is as certain as the rising of the sun. The intersection of faith and reality is no longer a destination you are seeking, but the ground upon which you are now building your sanctuary of abundance. If this resonated, take a moment to notice what you're feeling in the depths of your heart, for that is where the true work is being done. Is there a sense of peace that transcends your bank balance? Is there a feeling of strength that doesn't depend on your physical energy? These are the signs that the forbidden seal has been broken and the infinite supply is beginning to saturate your existence. You are the architect of ancestral liberation, and the rising golden horizon is not just a promise for the future, it is the reality of your present. Go forth with the unstoppable momentum of one who knows they are the favored heir of a kingdom that knows no lack. Your life is no longer a struggle for survival. It is a masterpiece of divine design, unfolding in perfect time and perfect grace. The silence you've been carrying has finally found a voice here, my heir, in a way that your mind may not yet fully comprehend. This meeting is more than a digital flicker. It is a calculated pause in the machinery of your daily life, designed to let a higher frequency settle into your spirit. You might be feeling a strange sense of weightlessness right now, as if the heavy anchor of your past has suddenly let go without your permission. Stay with this resonance for a few beats, for the timing of this arrival is part of a sequence that has been unfolding since before you drew your first breath. There is something about this stillness that is meant to prepare you for a momentum you have never before experienced. You may have been sensing a shift in the way you perceive your world, noticing that the old obstacles no longer seem as solid as they once did. This is the mark of the exhausted seeker of truth who has finally reached the wellspring, realizing that the search was never about finding something new, but about uncovering what was always there. You may have felt this before, a momentary glimpse of your own power, only to have it obscured by the dust of your daily chores and the noise of other people's expectations. This moment may not be as ordinary as it seems, as the fog is clearing to reveal the intersection of faith and reality where you now reside. Let this unfold for a second, allowing the fatigue of your long journey to be replaced by the quiet hum of a new divine energy. For a long time, my chosen, you have wrestled with the curse of stagnant lack, a shadow that seemed to follow your name through every endeavor. You have seen it in the missed opportunities, the glass ceilings, and the way your resources seemed to evaporate just as you achieved a measure of stability. This enemy was not a reflection of your character, but a systemic lock placed upon your lineage, intended to keep the architects of your family from ever realizing their true authority. You may be noticing this now, a deep-seated refusal to participate in the scarcity that defined those who came before you. And this connects to something deeper, the breaking of a forbidden seal that has held your ancestral treasures in a state of suspended animation until this very hour. Within the unseen place of reflection where we now stand, your true identity as the architect of ancestral liberation is being restored and activated. You may have felt a relatable inner struggle where you were torn between the safety of your small life and the terrifying vastness of your potential. This tension was necessary, for it was the forge in which your resolve was hardened and your vision was sharpened to see beyond the visible world. You are not here randomly. You are the one who has been entrusted with the divine key to open the gates that were slammed shut in generations past. Something is shifting in your internal blueprint, replacing the lines of limitation with the infinite supply of a cosmic inheritance that knows no end. You may notice a micro-tension in your body as you hear these words, a physical response to the truth of your own expansion. Not everything is clear yet, and the mind often struggles to accept a reality that it cannot calculate or control. But your spirit recognizes the rising golden horizon as its home. You may have been feeling a subtle discomfort lately, a sense that the world you built for yourself has become too cramped for the wings you are beginning to unfold. This is the recognition stage, where the silence of your waiting transforms into the melody of your becoming. Stay with this feeling, for there is an open loop in your destiny that is finally beginning to close, bringing completion to a cycle of lack and initiation to a cycle of overflow. Think of a hidden archive, an ancient room within your own consciousness, where the records of your worth have been meticulously kept. For years you walked past the door to this room, unaware that you held the only key capable of turning the heavy bolt. Now, that door is standing ajar, and the light from within is spilling out into the silent corridor of your current life, illuminating the path forward with a brilliance that cannot be ignored. You are noticing this now in the sudden clarity of your thoughts, and the way your intuition is speaking with a volume you can no longer ignore. If something within you resonates, you may already understand why you're here. At this precise moment of your soul's awakening, the shift from paralyzed fear to unstoppable momentum is not a process you have to force, but a current you simply have to enter. You might recall a subtle, real-life moment when you were ready to give up, only to be met by a small, inexplicable sign that encouraged you to keep going. Those signs were the early indicators of this cosmic alignment, the breadcrumbs leading you toward the infinite supply that is your birthright. You may have felt the exhaustion of being the one who always had to hold everything together, but now you are being invited to let the divine architecture of my grace hold you instead. This surrender is not a loss of power, but the ultimate reclaiming of it, as you align your will with the flow of the universe. If you feel supported here, you're always welcome to stay connected to this vibration, for the frequency of abundance is one that requires constant nourishment in a world that feeds on lack. You may be noticing how the weight of your worries has begun to lift, replaced by a curiosity about what the next hour, the next day, and the next week will bring. There is something about this expectant state that acts as a magnet for the miracles you have been praying for, drawing them out of the unseen realm and into your tangible experience. Stay with this moment, noticing how the rising golden horizon is no longer a distant hope, but a present reality that is warming your heart and lighting your way. You are moving from the struggle of searching into the grace of recognizing, and finally into the power of becoming. In a moment, the transition you are undergoing will manifest in ways that are undeniable to those around you, though they may not understand the source of your newfound peace. You are no longer the one who begs for scraps from the table of life. You are the architect who designs the feast and invites the world to join. The forbidden seal has been broken, not by force, but by the quiet authority of your own realization that you are loved beyond measure. The intersection of faith and reality is your new playground, a place where the rules of scarcity are suspended and the laws of infinite supply are in full effect. Just give this a little space to fully integrate into your being, for the transformation is as deep as it is permanent. As you prepare to step back into the flow of your day, carry this sense of ancestral liberation with you as a shield and a banner. You are the one your lineage has been waiting for, the one who possesses the divine key to unlock the treasures of heaven for the benefit of all. If this resonated, take a moment to notice what you're feeling: the quiet strength, the steady pulse of momentum, and the absolute certainty that you are being guided. The rising golden horizon is yours to inhabit, and the infinite supply is yours to distribute. For you are my heir, and everything I have is yours. Go forth with the unstoppable momentum of the divine, and watch as your world reflects the beauty of the architecture you are now creating. Out of all the paths you could have wandered today, you found yourself exactly at this stillness, my chosen, as if a quiet current pulled you toward a destination you didn't know you were seeking. There is a timing to this arrival that suggests a hidden mechanism is clicking into place, a celestial clock that has finally struck the hour of your liberation. You may have felt a subtle, aching familiarity with this silence, as if you've been waiting for a message that wasn't written in words, but in the very fabric of your being. Don't rush past this just yet, but let the quietness show you what is actually shifting beneath the surface of your conscious mind. You may not even realize how close you are to the intersection of faith and reality, where the old maps of your struggle are being replaced by a new geography of grace. There's something about the way you are breathing in this moment that suggests a release of a tension you've carried for decades. You may have been feeling a strange sense of exhaustion lately, not just in your body, but in your very soul, the fatigue of the exhausted seeker of truth who has tried every door only to find them locked from the other side. This recognition is not meant to discourage you, but to mirror the truth of your journey. You have been traveling through the dry wilderness of a generational lack that was never meant for you. You may be noticing this now, a deep, quiet refusal to settle for the crumbs of a life you know should be a feast. In a moment, this may become clearer, but for now, stay with the feeling of the burden being lifted from your tired shoulders. My child, you are not here randomly, for the vibration of this message is specifically tuned to the frequency of the architect of ancestral liberation who is waking up within you. You have lived under the curse of stagnant lack, a shadow that has dimmed the brilliance of your family tree for more time than you can count. You may have felt this before, the sensation of being held back by an invisible hand just as you were about to reach your highest goals. This enemy is not a person or a circumstance, but a forbidden seal that was placed upon the prosperity of your lineage to keep you from realizing your divine authority. And this connects to something deeper, a cosmic alignment that is now systematically dismantling every barrier that stands between you and your infinite supply. You might recall a subtle, real-life moment when you looked at your reflection and didn't recognize the person staring back, someone who looked weathered by the storms of a constant financial and emotional winter. This relatable inner struggle is the forge where your strength was tempered, creating a resilience that is now being converted into an unstoppable momentum. You may have felt the paralyzing fear that your life would always be a series of not-enoughs, a cycle of survival that left no room for the joy of your true purpose. But notice how that fear is beginning to feel like a distant memory, a story about a person you no longer are. There is a reason you're hearing this now, as you stand at the quiet midnight threshold where the old sun sets on your struggles and a rising golden horizon begins to glow. If something within you resonates, you may already understand why you're here, sitting in this unseen place of reflection where the blueprints of your life are being redrawn. Just give this a little space to settle, for the transition from a seeker to a builder is one that requires a deep, internal stillness. You may notice a micro-tension in your heart as the architect begins to sketch the new outlines of your reality, moving the boundaries of what you thought was possible far beyond your previous reach. Not everything is clear yet, and the mind may still offer its old objections of how and when, but your spirit already knows that the supply is arriving. Stay with this moment, noticing how the silence is no longer a void of waiting, but a fertile ground of becoming. The burning seal that once kept your treasures hidden is now being dissolved by the light of a truth you are finally ready to inhabit. You may have felt the exhaustion of trying to force doors open with the weight of your own hands, but now you are discovering the divine key of alignment. This key does not require strength, only the recognition of your own identity as my heir, the one for whom all the resources of the cosmos have been gathered. You are noticing this now in the way your intuition is sharpening, pointing you toward opportunities that were hidden in plain sight only yesterday. There is something about this shift that is permanent, a fundamental change in the way you interact with the very concept of wealth and well-being. If you feel supported here, you're always welcome to stay connected to this flow, as the architecture of a new life is best built in the company of those who see the same horizon. You might recall the relatable struggle of feeling like you were the only one in your circle who believed in the impossible, while everyone else was content with the familiar walls of lack. That isolation was actually a period of protection, a still inner chamber where your vision could grow without being contaminated by the doubts of the world. Now, that vision is being brought into the light, and you are being revealed as the one who breaks the chains of the past for all who follow. There is a timing to this revelation that is as perfect as the turn of the seasons, bringing you into your harvest just as the world thought you were finished. In a moment, A specific realization may strike you, a sudden understanding of how a past disappointment was actually the very thing that positioned you for this current alignment. There's something about this perspective shift that turns your tears into the fuel for your new momentum, proving that nothing in your journey has been wasted. You may have been an exhausted seeker, but you are becoming a master builder, one who understands that the infinite supply is not a destination, but a state of being. The rising golden horizon is a promise that the darkness you endured was merely the shadow of the great thing that was coming your way. Just let this unfold for a second, allowing the warmth of this truth to melt the last traces of your skepticism. If this resonated, take a moment to notice what you're feeling in the core of your existence, the quiet thrum of a power that doesn't need to scream to be felt. Is there a sense of relief, a loosening of the grip you've had on your own survival, as you realize that the divine architecture is already in place? This is the intersection of faith and reality, the place where you stop trying to convince the universe of your need and start acknowledging the fullness of my provision. The forbidden seal is broken, and the flow that is now entering your life will not be a trickle, but a flood that washes away the debris of your old stagnant lack. You are the architect, and your new world is being built on the solid rock of an inheritance that can never be depleted. As you prepare to return to the visible world, carry this sense of unstoppable momentum with you as your new default setting. You are no longer defined by the struggles of those who came before you, but by the glory of the one who created you for this specific hour of liberation. The rising golden horizon is not just a symbol you are watching. It is a light you are carrying within you to illuminate every path you take. If you feel a resonance with this truth, take a moment to notice the peace that has settled into your mind, for it is the signature of the divine upon your soul. Go forth, my beloved, as the architect of a new day, knowing that the infinite supply of heaven is moving with you in every step you take. There's a reason you're seeing this right now, my child, as if a silent invitation has finally found its way through the noise of your daily survival. This moment may not be as ordinary as it seems, for it marks the precise second where the confusion of your long wandering begins to crystallize into a profound awakening. You may have sensed this before, a feeling that you were moving through a world that was slightly out of focus, where the things you needed were always just a shadow's breadth away. Don't rush past this just yet, but let this space settle around you like a familiar cloak, for the timing of this awareness is the first ripple of a tide that is finally turning in your favor. You may have been feeling something you couldn't explain lately, a deep-seated confusion that seems to touch every corner of your life, from your finances to your most private hopes. This is the emotional mirror of the exhausted seeker of truth, the part of you that has tried to map the territory of your future using the outdated charts of your past disappointments. You may be noticing this now in the way you question your own worth when the world doesn't reflect the abundance you feel in your soul. There is something about this specific confusion that is actually the breaking up of old, stagnant energy, preparing you for a cosmic alignment of infinite supply that you have never before dared to imagine. In a moment, this may become clearer. But for now, allow the old questions to fall silent so that a new answer can emerge. My heir, you are currently standing in a silent corridor of your own making, a place of transition where the intersection of faith and reality becomes your permanent home. You have lived too long under the curse of stagnant lack, a spiritual drought that has dried up the dreams of those who came before you and left you thirsting for more. You may have felt this before. The relatable struggle of reaching for a blessing only to have it slip through your fingers like sand, leaving you wondering if you were ever meant to grasp it at all. This enemy of your peace is not a permanent fixture of your life, but a forbidden seal that is finally being broken by the sheer persistence of your presence here today. There is a reason you're hearing this now, as the architect of ancestral liberation is being called to take her place at the drafting table of a new destiny. Think of a subtle, real-life moment when you looked at a stack of bills or a dwindling resource and felt a cold, paralyzing fear grip your heart, making you feel small and forgotten. That fear was the chain that kept you bound to the history of your ancestors, a history that told you that lack was the only truth you would ever know. But notice how that fear is beginning to transform into an unstoppable momentum as you realize that you are the one chosen to break the cycle. You are not here randomly. You are the one with the divine key to an open gate that has been locked for generations, guarding the treasures that are rightfully yours. And this connects to something deeper, a movement of the stars and the spirit that is bringing the infinite supply of the heavens into direct contact with the palm of your hand. If something within you resonates, you may already understand why you're here, sitting at the threshold of a rising golden horizon that is finally beginning to glow with the promise of a new day. You might recall the feeling of being a stranger in your own lineage, the one who always felt that there was more to life than just getting by. This relatable inner struggle was the sign of your calling, the evidence that you were never meant to be a victim of scarcity, but a master of abundance. Just give this a little space to expand within your consciousness, for the awakening you are experiencing is not a temporary high, but a permanent shift in your spiritual architecture. Stay with this moment, for there's something deeper here that is rearranging your world even as you listen. There is a micro-tension in the air around you, a sense that the atmosphere is heavy with the weight of an impending breakthrough. Not everything is clear yet, and the road ahead may still seem to be hidden by the mist of your old confusion, but the direction you are taking is being set by a hand that never wavers. You may have felt the exhaustion of being the one who had to figure everything out, but you are now being invited to trust in a divine plan that has already paved the path to your prosperity. You are noticing this now in the way your intuition is beginning to whisper of possibilities that used to feel like impossible fantasies. This is the frequency of the architect, the one who knows that the infinite supply is not something to be chased, but something to be channeled. If you feel supported here, you're always welcome to stay connected to this flow of grace, for the journey of awakening is one that is best walked in the light of the truth. You might recall the moments of deep loneliness when it felt like the universe was silent in the face of your most urgent needs. Those moments were not a sign of my absence, but a still inner chamber where you were being prepared to handle the magnitude of the supply that is now arriving. The momentum you are feeling is the result of your own surrender. The moment you stopped fighting against the current and started letting the current carry you toward your highest good. Stay with this for a moment, letting the warmth of my love dissolve the last remnants of your doubt. In a moment, the path forward will reveal itself with a clarity that will make your past confusion seem like a distant dream. There's something about this new direction that will feel effortless, as if every door is opening of its own accord and every resource is gravitating toward you with magnetic precision. You may have been an exhausted seeker, but you are becoming a radiant receiver, learning that the secret to the infinite supply is simply knowing that it is already yours. The forbidden seal is broken, and the flow of grace that is now entering your life will wash away every memory of the curse of stagnant lack. Just give this a little space to fully saturate your soul, for you are being rebuilt from the inside out into a vessel of total overflow. If this resonated, take a moment to notice what you're feeling in the very center of your being, the quiet, steady pulse of a heart that finally knows it is home. Is there a sense of direction that wasn't there 10 minutes ago? A feeling that you finally know which way to turn? This is the work of the architect of ancestral liberation, taking the raw materials of your life and turning them into a monument of divine favor. The intersection of faith and reality is no longer a place of conflict for you, but a place of creation, where your every word and thought has the power to manifest the abundance of the heavens. You are noticing this now, aren't you? The way the world is beginning to look brighter, more vibrant, and more welcoming than it has in years. As you prepare to move back into the visible world, carry this rising golden horizon within you as a beacon for others who are still lost in the dark. You are the proof that the curse can be broken, that the supply is infinite, and that the momentum of grace is unstoppable for those who believe. If you feel a resonance with this message, take a moment to acknowledge the shift that has occurred within you, for that acknowledgement is the final seal upon your new reality. You are my heir, and the kingdom of infinite supply is your playground and your inheritance. Go forth with the calm confidence of the architect, knowing that everything you build from this day forward will be blessed with the light of my eternal favor. Something about this moment brought you here, my heir, even as the rest of the world hurried past this specific frequency, with its eyes closed to the subtle movements of the divine. This moment may not be as ordinary as it seems, for it contains a timing that matches the hidden rhythm of your own soul's deep desire for change. You may have sensed this before, that quiet, persistent inkling that you were being steered away from the familiar paths and toward an intersection where everything is about to change. Don't rush past this just yet, as giving this a little space may be the very thing that allows the next layer of your story to finally unfold. There is a reason you're seeing this right now, as if a long-awaited signal has finally pierced the density of your daily worries. You may have been feeling something you couldn't explain lately, a heavy, lingering sense that the old doors are closing for good, leaving you in a corridor of uncertain silence. This heaviness is not a sign of stagnation, though it may feel that way to your physical senses. It is actually the weight of a profound internal reorganization. You are noticing this now in the way you no longer find comfort in the things that used to distract you from your higher purpose. There is something about this specific awareness that signals you are moving from a state of searching to a state of recognizing. In a moment, this may become clearer, but for now, stay with the feeling of the old self falling away like autumn leaves to make room for the spring of your becoming. You may have walked for years in a desert of not quite enough, feeling like the exhausted seeker of truth who has followed every map only to find the wells were dry. You may have felt this before, the relatable struggle of working with all your might only to find that the harvest was stolen by circumstances you couldn't control. This is the mark of the curse of stagnant lack, an ancestral shadow that has tried to convince you that struggle is your only inheritance. This enemy of your peace has used paralyzing fear to keep you from realizing that you carry the divine key to a much larger kingdom. But something is shifting in the atmosphere today, as the forbidden seal on your family's prosperity is being dissolved by the light of a truth you are finally ready to inhabit. My child, you are not a victim of your lineage, but the architect of ancestral liberation, designed to redraw the boundaries of what is possible for your bloodline. You might recall a subtle, real-life moment when you felt like an outsider in your own family, the one who saw the golden horizon while others were content to live in the gray. This inner struggle was not a mistake, but a preparation for this very hour, where your vision is required to lead the way into a new chapter of infinite supply. You are not here randomly, for the intersection of faith and reality is a place that only the brave of heart can truly occupy. There may be a reason you're hearing this now, specifically as your spirit is preparing to take the lead over your mind's old limitations. You may notice a micro-tension in your spirit as you contemplate the vastness of the rising golden horizon that is now appearing before you. Not everything is clear yet, and the mind may offer its old objections, trying to pull you back into the safety of the struggle you have known for so long. But notice how your heart beats with a different rhythm when you think about the momentum that is starting to build in your life. This connects to something deeper, a cosmic alignment that has been quietly positioning the resources, the people, and the openings you have been praying for. Stay with this moment, for there's something deeper here that is rearranging your history to align with your future glory. If something within you resonates, you may already understand why you're here, standing at the open gate of a destiny that was once held under a forbidden seal. You might have felt the exhausting pressure to try harder or do more, but that era of frantic striving is coming to an end. You are learning the power of being the architect, the one who speaks the word and watches as the unseen world begins to form around the structure of your faith. There is a timing to this arrival that you may not have noticed, but it is as certain as the sunrise, bringing with it a supply that is not measured by the world's standards. Just give this a little space to fully anchor in your mind, for the transformation you are undergoing is both subtle and absolute. Imagine a light inscription being written onto the walls of your heart, a new decree that states your days of lack are officially over. This symbol is a marker of your new identity, a sign that you have moved past the threshold of the seeker and into the authority of the heir. You are noticing this now in the way you are beginning to expect good things to happen, rather than bracing for the next disaster. This shift from fear to momentum is the greatest miracle of all, for it changes the very gravity of your life, pulling in blessings that used to be held back by the walls of your own doubt. If you feel supported here, you're always welcome to stay connected, for the path of the architect is one of constant expansion and discovery. In a moment, you will find that a particular burden you have carried for years suddenly feels like it has no more weight to it. This release is the signature of my grace, a sign that the cosmic alignment of your infinite supply has successfully overridden the old laws of lack. You may have been an exhausted seeker, but you are becoming a joyful possessor, realizing that the treasures you sought were always waiting for your permission to be revealed. The rising golden horizon is not a distant dream. It is the light that is currently filling your rooms and illuminating your choices. Stay with this feeling of release, for it is the atmosphere in which your new life will flourish and grow. If this resonated, take a moment to notice what you're feeling in the quietest part of your soul, for that is where the truth is being integrated. Is there a sense of peace that doesn't make sense given your current circumstances? Is there a flicker of excitement for a tomorrow that you used to dread? These are the awareness triggers of your new reality, the evidence that the momentum has officially shifted in your favor. You are no longer the person who waits for a miracle. You are the one who walks in a state of miraculous alignment every single day. The forbidden seal is broken, the gate is open, and the infinite supply is yours to command and to enjoy. As you prepare to return to the flow of your day, carry this sense of ancestral liberation with you like a mantle of authority. You are the architect, and your words and thoughts are the tools with which you will build a life that reflects the beauty of your divine origin. If you feel a resonance with this message, take a moment to notice the shift in your energy, for you are now moving with the unstoppable momentum of heaven itself. The rising golden horizon is your new home, and the intersection of faith and reality is where you will see my promises take shape in your hands. Go in peace, my beloved heir, for the world is waiting to see the masterpiece you are about to create.